Dear students, in this corona time, our 10th class exams are postponed and latestly the dates are announced by government. Those are from July 10th onwards. So the question papers are merged. That means two papers are merged into a single paper for 100 marks. There are total 6 subjects, 6 papers. Today I am going to explain the latest release by model paper by Board of Secondary Education, Mathematics for 100 marks. Here in the first section, previously there are 12 questions. Each question carries half mark. That means in the first section 12 into half 6 marks. Therefore, here onwards the latest exams pattern is 100 marks. Hence, first 6 questions may be from paper 1 syllabus and the second 6 questions may be paper 2 syllabus. Here also total 12 questions, but each question carries 1 mark. Today I explain the recently released model paper mathematics. First, today I explain 1 mark questions. In the first question, we observe here what is given. The number of subsets of an empty set dash. That means how many subsets are there for an empty set. But already we know the empty set means there is no elements. So number of pi is equal to 0. Number of subsets to an empty set is, already we know the formula, 2 to the power of n. Here there is no elements, that means 0. So 2 to the power of 0 is equal to 1. Hence the answer is 1. That means the number of subsets of an empty set is only 1. Then we move to the second question. Number of zeros of the following graph of the polynomial is. It is the question. Here the given diagram is like this. This is x-axis, this is y-axis, and the parabola is like this. Here you may observe the parabola intersect the x-axis. How many points? You have to add only 1 point. So the zeros of the polynomial given graph is only 1. You may observe also here the first question comes from the chess chapter. The second question is polynomial chapter. Now we move to the third question. That is, the third question is log 10, log 100, log 1000, etc. are in dash progression. That means in which progression? These terms are in which progression? How do you get the answer? Look here. In progression chapter, we know the arithmetic progression, geometric progression. Here looks like logarithms terms. How can we find? Let us think. You may rewrite the given logarithm terms into general values. And that is log 10 base 10 is 1. Hence, you rewrite the log 10 is equal to 1. Log 100, you may rewrite this one, log 10 square, that means 2 log 10 as per the logarithm identities. That is equal to 2 into 1. Log 10 value is 1, hence 2 into 1, that is 2. The third term is also like that. Log 1000 is equal to log 10 cube. You may rewrite the log 1000 is equal to log 10 cube. Here also we may apply the log x to the power of n is equal to n log x. Using that identity, we may get 3 log 10. Here 3 log 10 base 10 is 1, that means 3. Here what identities we can use? Those are log 10 base 10 is equal to 1. One more identity is log x to the power of n is equal to n log x. We can use these two identities. We may rewrite the given logarithm terms into log 10 is 1, log 100 is 2, log 1000 is 3. Then you may replace by the values of log 10, 100 and 1000. Then we get 1, 2, 3, etc. Now you may observe these are the natural numbers, and also we may find easily the difference of any two successive terms. Here this is a1, a2, a3 and so on. a2 minus a1, we get 2 minus 1, that is equal to 1, and a3 minus a2, that is equal to 3 minus 2, that is equal to 1. Here you observe any two successive terms difference is always we get 1. That means it is a constant. So the difference is constant, then the given terms are in arithmetic progression. Hence the answer is log 10, log 100, log 1000 is in arithmetic progression. We simply write AP. Okay. Now we move to the fourth question. The fourth question is like this: if x is equal to is a solution of 2x plus 3y is equal to 13, then y is equal to dash. It is a very simple question to you. Just simply we substitute the x value in the given equation. It is very simple. What is the given equation? 2x plus 3y is equal to 13. Now simply you substitute the x value. Then you get 2 into 2 plus 3y is equal 13. 2 2s are 4. 4 plus 3y is equal to 13. 3y is equal to 13 minus 4. That is 9. Y is equal to 9 by 3. That is equal to 3. It's a very simple way. Already you may do it so many problems from 8th class onwards. Now we move to the fifth question. Find the common ratio of geometric progression root 2, root 8, root 32, etc. You know the geometric progression. Already in this problem, this given progression is in geometric progression. Hence we know that the ratio of the two successive terms is a constant, then it is GB. But here ask only common ratio, common ratio, and also given the given progression is in GB. So you know the common ratio R is equal to, this is A1, A2, A3, A2 by A1, that is root 8 by root 2. You may rewrite this one like this: root of 8 by 2. That means 2 4s. Root 4. Root 4 is equal to 2. So, common ratio of the given geometric progression is 2. Here you may remember common ratio of GP is ratio of two successive terms in the given progression. So here R is equal to A2 by A1. Just simply we substitute the values of A2 and A1. Finally we get the common ratio. Okay. Okay. Now we move to the sixth question. I will read it. Choose the correct answer satisfying the following statements. That means in this problem, in the sixth question, two statements are given. Statement A, 2x cubed plus 3 root x minus 5 is not a polynomial. Statement B, 0 of the polynomial 2x minus 3 is 3 by 2. These are the given two statements in the question paper. But what is our task? There are four options in the question paper. I do not write here. I write only here answer. First you may think which is false one, which is true one, or both are false or both are true. You may judge these two. First we may go to the statement A. The given statement is 2x cubed plus 3 root x minus 5 is not a polynomial. Yes. Here you may observe 2x cubed plus 3 root x minus 5 is not a polynomial. That means here in the second term the exponent of x is root. That means the exponent is 1 by 2. What is the definition of a polynomial? The exponents must be non-negative integers. Hence, this is not a polynomial, this is true. It's a two statements. That means A is true. Now, statement B. 0 of the polynomial 2x minus 3 is 3 by 2. We know what is zeros of the polynomials. Here you may substitute the 3 by 2 on behalf of x. What we get? You may observe here. 2 into 3 by 2 minus 3. 2x minus 3 is equal to 2 into 3 by 2 minus 3. Here 3 minus 3, that is equal to 0. Now what we find? We get 0. When we substitute the x value 3 by 2, we get 0. That means 3 by 2 is a 0 of the given polynomial. That means here statement A and statement B both are true. So the answer is A is true and B is also true. You may correct this one. Now we move to the seventh question. Slope of the line x is equal to 3 is dash. Slope. This question belongs to coordinate geometry. Previous one you may observe this question belongs to, sixth one belongs to polynomial chapter, and the seventh question belongs to coordinate geometry chapter. Slope. Already you know what is slope. Slope of the line x is equal to 3. You may think x is equal to 3. It represents what type of line on graph? Simply we can say we may get the x is equal to 3 like this. This is y-axis. This is x-axis. We get the x is equal to 3. It is parallel to the y-axis. This is x is equal to 3. That means x is equal to 3 represents a parallel line which is parallel to y-axis. That means the slope of the y-axis is not defined. Hence, the x is equal to 3 is also not defined. So the answer is not defined. But the answer is not like that. The answer is in trigonometric ratios. I do not write here all the given four options. I write the correct answer. Why? Because of tan 90 is also not defined. Among those four options, only one suitable not defined is tan 90. The value of tan 90 is not defined. Remaining three, we get some answers, some digits. So here the answer is slope of the line x is equal to 3 is answer is tan 90 because here tan 90 value is not defined. Not defined. And here the slope of x is equal to 3 is also not defined. So the answer is slope of the line x is equal to 3 is not defined. Okay, you may observe this is from 7th chapter coordinate geometry. This is the polynomial chapter 3. Okay, now let us move to the next question. Okay, now 8th question. Find the area of a semicircle whose radius is 7 centimeters. We may remember, we may recall what is semicircle, is of the circle, and also what is our requirement area. We know the formula to find the area of a circle. What is the formula? Pi r square. To find the area of a circle is pi r square. But what our requirement here? Semicircle. That means pi r square by 2. So area of semicircle is equal to half of the circle. That means the circle area is pi r square, semicircle area is pi r square by 2. Simply you substitute the value of radius. How much it is? It is 7 centimeters. So here r is equal to 7 centimeters. Therefore, area of a semicircle is 22 by 7. R square means 7 into 7 by 2. You may cancel these two 11s. 11 into 7, 77 centimeters square. It's a very simple question. Just simply you may know the formula of semicircle. Then you substitute the radius value 7. Finally we get the area of the semicircle. It is a very simple question. Now 9th one. Match the following. You may observe this question from trigonometry chapter. Okay. Here you may observe in the first A is sin theta, B is cos theta, C is tan theta. We may rewrite these three, so many options, but the given options is like this. First one is 1 by secant theta, second one is sin theta by cos theta, third one is 1 by cosecant theta. Already we may learn, we may recall the basics of the trigonometry ratios. What is sin theta? It is a you may write the sin theta into is equal to 1 by cosecant theta. We may recall sin theta into cosecant theta is equal to 1, cos theta into secant theta is 1, and tan theta into cot theta 1. Okay, you may recall those. Sin theta here. Sin theta is equal to, which is the suitable option here? Sin theta is equal to 1 by cosecant theta. That means A is equal to 3. Cos theta. What is the reciprocal of cos theta? 1 by secant theta. Now simply you may write the cos theta is reciprocal of secant theta. Hence B is 1. Tan theta is sin theta by cos theta. So C is 2. So the answer is the given option. There are 4 options for this question. Suitable answer is C. C answer is A is 3, B is 1, C is 2. It is from basics of the trigonometric ratios. Sin theta is reciprocal of cosecant theta. Cos theta is reciprocal of 1 by secant theta. Sin theta, cosecant theta is inverse ratios, cos theta, secant theta is also inverse ratios. And one more is tan theta is equal to sin theta by cos theta. Okay. Okay. Now we move to the 10th question. What is the probability to pick a jack card from a deck of cards? Already we know the playing cards. We may recall it. When you look the cards, this question maybe belongs to probability chapter. What is the probability? What is the formula to find the probability? There is a simple formula. Number of probable outcomes by total possible outcomes. But what is the question here? To pick a jack. To pick a jack means to select a jack card from the deck of cards. You may recall how many cards in a deck? There are 52 cards. There are 4 colors. 2 are red color, 2 are black color. Each color have 13 cards. 4 13s are 52 cards. So, jack card. You may recall it. How many jacks are in each color? There are black spades, red diamonds, red hearts, black clubs. Each one have 1 jack. That means 1 jack club card, 1 jack spade card, one jack is red hearts and 1 jack is red diamonds. So, in among all the 52 cards, there are 4 jack cards. So, total possible outcomes are 52, probable outcomes are 4. The question is, what is the probability to pick a jack? To pick a jack card. So, 4 by 52. So, probability to pick a jack card. Probability. Probability to pick a jack card is, we know the formula, you may write it. Number of favorable outcomes by total possible outcomes. Here, favorable outcomes means there are 4 jack cards. In each color, each one. So, 4. Total possible outcomes means total number of cards in the deck. Those are 52. So, 4 by 52. 4 ones and 4 13s. So, the probability to pick a jack card randomly is 1 by 13. Next, we move to the 11th question. That is the mean of x plus 3, x and x minus 3 is dash. Okay. The mean, median, mode. When you identify the word mean, then you may recall these words are belongs to which chapter? Statistics. So the mean of, what is the formula to find the mean? Mean is equal to sum of quantities by number of quantities. This is the formula. When you recall it, first memorize the formula, then simply we substitute what is in the terms, sum of quantities. So where the sum of quantities, what are the quantities here? X plus 3, x plus 3. So you may sum of these three given quantities. Just simply you put the addition symbol. X plus 3 plus second term x and third term x minus 3. So how many quantities are there? 1, 2, 3. So number of quantities is 3. Just you open the brackets, x plus 3 plus x minus 3 by 3. You may observe minus 3 plus 3 cancel. Here x plus x plus x. Total how many x are there? 3x. 3x by 3. That means x. So the mean of x plus 3 x minus 3 is x. Okay. Now we move to the last question of 1 more questions in the given model. Last question of the section 1. The question that is, it's also very simple question. The point lies in quadrant 1 is dash. There are 4 options in the given question paper, but I do not write here all those 4 options here. I simply write the answer. Already you know it. Quadrant 1 means both x coordinate and y coordinate are positive numbers, positive integers. Hence, among those given 4 options, 7, comma 1 is the suitable answer. So I write directly here. For your convenience, I simply once again what is quadrant 1 and what is quadrant 2 and 3 and 4. On a plane, the horizontal line is called x-axis. The vertical line is called y-axis. Now the plane is divided into 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. We may start from here onwards. So this is called quadrant 1. This is called quadrant 2. This is called quadrant 3. This is called quadrant 4. You may recall this diagram. When you may observe this diagram, you may simply recall what are the points in quadrant 1, what are in quadrant 2, like that. So here these two x-axis and y-axis are intersecting at a point that is called origin. This is positive x-axis. These are positive integers, and positive x-axis. These are negative axis of negative x-axis. This is positive y-axis. This is negative y-axis. Hence, these all are plus plus. These are minus comma plus in the quadrant 3, minus minus in the quadrant 4, plus minus. Already we know this. So I simply remember all these. I simply recall it. Okay, thank you. Okay, here I explained some more additional. There is no need to write all these in the question paper in the exam section. Just simply you write answers a word or a phrase only. I will repeat again. There is no need to write the additional explanation for these questions. For your convenience, I give some additional explanation here, all the 12 questions. There is no need to write all these explanations for the section 1. Simply you write the answer, a single word or a phrase. That's enough to get 1 mark for each question. Okay, this is the end of this section 1. We met again in the section 2 and 3 in the other videos. Okay, thank you.